compared to Liverpool, Manchester United have a lot more of an unsettled team. You would notice that their press was very good. United's press was really good, probably one of the most impressive things about them. One of the things people held against Ten Hag last season was the fact that there was no pattern of play, there was no style of play. We're also seeing good build-up patterns, the 3-2-5, the 3-1-6, very good build-up patterns. And when you see the likes of Matthijs de Ligt, gelling into the team, let's talk about Manchester United. Yes, let's talk about Manchester United. Now, of course, on the weekend, Liverpool went to Old Trafford, defeating Manchester United 3-0 at Old Trafford. It was a bad performance by Manchester United, and already, as it is, virtually every time Manchester United lose a game, there's a lot of media scrutiny on the players, on the manager, even on the ownership. Actually, I've seen some people already talking about Ineos, and the question is there cause for alarm? Should Manchester United fans be worried? Should Ineos be taking a look at the manager? Should the fans actually, should the media actually be talking about Erik Ten Hag? In this video, I will be giving my opinion on all of those questions. So do well to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notifications button so that you get notified when there's new content on the channel. So like I said, it's no news. Liverpool defeating Manchester United 3-0, 2 goals from Luis Diaz, and of course 1 from Mohammed Salah. It was a poor performance for Manchester United. Like there's no two ways about that. It was a poor performance. But there's been a lot of media scrutiny already. There's been a lot of people calling for the manager to get sacked already. In fact, someone said if Manchester United is a serious club, they should sack Erik Ten Hag the next morning. But first of all, that's just not good. That's not even possible, and we're going to come into that later. But there's already been so many people talking about how the manager should get the sack, and it begs the question: how much of this is on the manager? Should the manager really get the blame for everything that is wrong, or everything that was wrong with Manchester United in the game against Liverpool? And there's been a lot of things said in defense of Erik Ten Hag, and of course also against him. But I'm just here, to give my own opinion about it. Of course, we all have our opinions, and I of course love you to drop your opinion in the comment box. Let's just see. Let's see. So, is there cause for alarm at Manchester United? In my opinion, not really. I don't think the alarm bells should be ringing at Manchester United yet. The key word there is yet. And I have 3 reasons for saying this. And the first reason is that compared to Liverpool, Manchester United have a lot more of an unsettled team. United are missing certain first-team players currently. Manchester United have also signed a lot of new players, and those new players have to bed into the team. And there are also series of players that are not in form or are misfiring. First of all, let's talk about missing first-team players. Now, you would say that Erik Ten Hag has always used the excuse of injuries in times past, and that excuse is still valid. Now, there are not many players injured currently at United, but there are still some players that are not, very important players that are not playing, or that did not play against Liverpool. Let's take, for instance, Mason Mount. Now, Mason Mount is not a guaranteed starter for Manchester United, but if you have watched United games against Fulham and against Brighton, and even in the Community Shield against Manchester City, you would notice that their press was very good. United's press was really good, probably one of the most impressive things about them. And one of the key cogs to that good high press was Mason Mount. And if you noticed, one major thing that was off for United against Liverpool was that the press was poor. And what is the common denominator there? Mason Mount was not playing. So I feel Mason Mount is very, very important to the way Manchester United press. Now, when Rasmus Højlund comes back, and we're going to talk about Rasmus Højlund shortly, he is not going to be starting as much games. Talking about Mason Mount, he won't be starting as many games as he was before he got injured. But he's still a very important first-team player, and currently he wasn't able to play against Liverpool. And I feel that affected their press. And now about Rasmus Højlund. Rasmus Højlund is a good striker. I won't say he's a world-class striker. He's definitely not. But who knows, he could get there. But he's a very good striker. He scored 16 goals thereabout last season. And he has the ability to put 1 or 2 at the back of the net. And, there are some people saying that those chances that fell to Joshua Zirkzee in the game against Liverpool, if those chances had fallen to Rasmus Højlund, he would be putting them in the back of the net because he is that good of a finisher. But he's not currently available, and of course he will be coming back after the international break. And talking about out of form forwards, there are so many forwards that are out of form. Marcus Rashford. Rashford he has caused a lot of. Maybe we'll do a separate video on Marcus Rashford, but there's even Amad Diallo, who looked good when he came up he didn't start the game, but when he came off the bench, he looked really good. One or two touches here and there, but he has only scored one goal as well in three appearances. Alejandro Garnacho looked very poor against Liverpool. Of course, he's just coming from the Copa America and all of that. There's been a lot of issues. Even Bruno Fernandes, who is usually Mr. Reliable, he's not reliable this time around. So Manchester United have so many misfiring forwards, and you can't really put that on the manager. You really can't, because the manager is not there to. The manager, yes, is to get the best out of the players. But when there are so many players that are either not available or not in form, you can't really put that on the manager. The manager is there to create the system that works. The manager is not there to put on his boots and go and finish the chances that Joshua Zexi did not finish. I mean, those are on the players. And I don't believe the manager should be held responsible, in quotes. Now, at the end of the day, if these players don't get their form back, he will be sacked for it. That's the nature of the game. Erik Ten Hag will be sacked if these players don't get on their game. But the truth is that how much of it is his fault that the players are not in form? I mean, it's very debatable how much of it is his fault. Now, there are other things that are his fault, and I'm going to come to that shortly. But these ones are not his fault. Another reason why I feel that Erik Ten Hag should be allowed a lot more time is because of we have started to see patterns of play. One of the things people held against Ten Hag last season was the fact that there was no pattern of play, there was no style of play, etc., etc. But and even last season, I kind of. It was a bit debatable, but this season we're seeing very good patterns of play, especially in the games against Fulham and even Brighton that United lost. We saw that there is a very good pressing pattern. I've talked about that earlier. The 4-2-4 press, very effective. Except again the game against Liverpool, they were winning the ball very high, consistently and creating chances from it. We're also seeing good build-up patterns, the 3-2-5, the 3-1-6, very good build-up patterns. And when you see the likes of Matthijs de Ligt, gelling into the team, it's even going to make much sense because De Ligt is a very good possession player. So already in 3 games into the season, with the fact that there are so many new players trying to settle in, we can already see some patterns of play. The likes of Noussair Mazraoui has been brilliant actually since he made his debut against Fulham. So I feel, listen, it's not going to change. Last season was horrible for Manchester United fans. It's not going to change in 3 games. If you're expecting it to change in 3 games, maybe you need Harry Potter. You may need Harry Potter to be your manager. Erik Ten Hag was talking about Harry Potter in his press conference after the game. Maybe you need Harry Potter to come and change it, because to be honest, no manager can turn the rubbish we saw from Manchester United last week to a team that can beat Liverpool, which is a settled team. Despite the fact that Arne is a new manager, the team he brought out against United was a team that have played together for 40-50 odd games. You can't expect them to have the same cohesiveness as Manchester United. It's not possible. It's the difference was as clear as night and day. So I feel if Erik Ten Hag is given enough time, say till October, November, and we still are seeing these issues we are seeing now you can hold the manager and say, what's going on? But as for now, I don't think there's anything valid in that. Erik Ten Hag, I believe, needs to be given at least till October. Listen, when it's October or November or even December, we can then call the manager. If the results are still like this, then you can ask questions of the manager. But not now. This is September. We just started September. We're 3 games into the Premier League season. I think probably because of how big Manchester United is as a club, that's why the media always want to make news out of Manchester United. But to be honest, losing to that Liverpool team, with the pedigree of players they have, with how settled the team has been, with how settled the ownership structure has been, it's not the worst thing in the world. Now, I know it feels really bad because Manchester United, Liverpool United, 2 of the biggest clubs in England, and the rivalry and all of that. That's why it feels that bad for United fans. But really, it's not the end of the world. It's really not the end of the world. And it's 3 points at the end of the day. Let's take, for instance, when Liverpool beat Manchester United 7-0. United still finished above Liverpool that season. It's 3 points. And if United are able to get their mojo back, they would forget this 3-0 defeat in no time. They will forget it. So it's about giving the manager time, giving the coaching staff time, giving the players time to get themselves back together and then forge ahead. That's how they can make themselves into a winning team. Having said that, like I said earlier, Erik Ten Hag is not a saint. There are things that I believe are his responsibility. Now, some of them not necessarily his fault, but at the end of the day, it's his responsibility to fix it. And some of the things I feel he could fix, he should fix, is Manchester United on defensive transitions. Now, all the 3 goals that Liverpool scored was on defensive transition. That is on counter attacks. I beg your pardon. And each of those goals, 2 came from Casemiro losing the ball, and 1 came from Kobe Mainoo losing the ball. Now, if you look at those 3 goals, you discover that the moment Manchester United lost the ball in their own half, there were so many players out of position. Now, some of that could have been because Erik Ten Hag, building up in the 3-2-5 system, 3-2-5 shape or 3-1-6 shape, expecting his fullbacks to bomb forward and be high and wide. Probably that's one of the reasons why when Casemiro lost the ball, or in the case of Kobe Mainoo, when he lost the ball, you saw that Diogo Dalot and Nosa Mazraoui were out of position, and it was easy for Luis Diaz and Mohammed Salah to just bomb in and have a field day. Probably that's the reason. So probably it may not be the fault of the players, and it may be the fault of the manager. There's no how we can know. We're not in Manchester United's training ground, but it's something he needs to fix. Now, United also suffered from that last season. In defensive transitions, they were quite open. Now, they've not been as open as they were last season, but still, it's something that needs solving, because Manchester United, Liverpool scored 3 goals from counter attack. So I feel it's something that he needs to fix, because if he doesn't fix it, people will start to target Manchester United in that area. Now, when Manuel Ugarte comes in, it might help out in the sense that he has the legs that Casemiro doesn't have. But still, there needs to be a better structure. It's not just on the players now. There needs to be a better structure that can protect Manchester United when they are being countered. Another thing is, United don't look like they're ever going to score. I was watching the game against Liverpool and I was like, if United continue playing like that till next year, they probably wouldn't score a goal, because it didn't look like they were going to score. The few chances they created in the game, they were unable to take it. The 2, Rashford created 2 very good chances for Joshua Zirkzee, who he wasn't able to take it. And apart from that, apart from those 2 chances, there were not really any serious chances from Manchester United. Now, I believe that Liverpool's defense could be gotten at, especially down the right-hand side, where Trent Alexander-Arnold can be very suspect defensively. But United did not exploit that. So I believe that one thing Erik Ten Hag should take as very important to solve is the attacking structure. Now, usually in many teams, in many great teams, the attacking structure of the teams is usually based on the instincts of the players, except the likes of Pep Guardiola, who would always want to coach everything, where the players are going to stand and all of that. Usually, many managers like to allow the attacking players to express themselves, play off instinct. Now, if Erik Ten Hag wants to do that, that is fine. That's not a problem. It can work. But in the case where these players are not in form, now, Rashford, on a good day, we know he used to like to run at his defense. He wasn't doing that in this case. So is it an issue of confidence? The same with Garnacho on the right. He wasn't running at his marker. Could it be an issue of confidence? So in the case where many of your attacking players are short on confidence, I don't think you can expect them to express themselves and expect to get goals. So I believe there are certain things you need to solve. You might need to start to micro coach them and tell them where to stand and tell them what to do on the pitch, until they start to get their mojo back, and then the confidence comes, and then they start to play with the freedom that we are used to seeing from Manchester United teams of old. But for now, he might really need to micro coach them. The likes of Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, even like I said, Bruno Fernandes, who is usually very reliable, he's not being reliable. He's been displacing passes, and usually even the worst of Bruno, you will see that Bruno is still trying this and trying that. Against Liverpool, it was almost non-existent, and I don't think I've ever seen Bruno Fernandes in a game where you would just not see him do anything, and that was exactly how it was. It was only Kobe Mainoo that was trying to do one or two, and of course we saw when Amad Diallo came on, it was also quite impressive when he came on. But aside that, there was nothing in an attacking sense for Manchester United, and that has to be fixed, because if United are very tight at the back, they stop conceding goals. Hopefully, because another topic is on Onana's positioning for the 3rd goal, but that's a talk for another day. But if United somehow stop conceding goals, then they need to figure out how to score goals, because they can't keep playing draws all over the park. So they need to figure out how to score goals, and that is on the manager. So the top and bottom of this is that, I mean, there is no point shouting sack the manager, because Ineos would not sack the manager. I mean, they've just spent about almost 200 million pounds on new signings for the manager. In fact, signing some players that have played for Erik Ten Hag before, like De Ligt and Mazraoui. So you can't expect that 3 games into the season they will be sacking the manager. It's not even possible. But if the results do not improve, I think Erik Ten Hag will be getting the bullet. It's even obvious. I mean, it doesn't take Albert Einstein to figure that out. So he needs to sort out the problems Manchester United has so that he would last in a job. That's my opinion. I would like to hear your opinion. Drop it in the comment box. Let's talk about it. I'll be there to reply every of the comments. Once again, thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notifications button so that you get notified when there's new content on the channel. My name remains Goodness Eze. See you in the next video.